Hello and welcome to Tea Time, the show whose title is halfly made up of societal constructs.
As the philosopher Axl Rose once said, "You know where you are? You're in the universe, baby, and you're alive."
Let us talk about that. Hello again. Today on Tea Time we are talking about the universe. But since the universe is such a big place, we're going to be breaking it down a little bit.
Wiki, wiki, wiki! By that we mean the universe is so massive and it's impossible to understand it in its entirety. So we're just going to look at a few aspects of it. And hopefully by the end of this webisode, you'll understand a little bit more about the universe and most importantly, your place within it. Originally developed for the early Apollo missions, this space treat is frozen to -40 degrees and vacuum dried and placed in a special polyfoil pouch. Freeze-dried foods are used by astronauts eating under weightless conditions in space. So today, we're going to be trying freeze-dried ice cream. Ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little...
Have you had this before?
I have not. Have you had this before, Colin?
I had it
It's a little
twice.
bit broken.
But once when I was just a wee tot. You gotta try to get a mix of all three colors.
I just want to try them individually, but you can do that.
Okay.
Alright, ready?
This is freeze-dried ice cream. Pretty hard. I really enjoyed that.
The vanilla kind of tastes like the powder that you put into water for like babies like milk, like just like formula.
You know what? I haven't actually tried this before. Maybe we should have tasted that instead.
It's not bad. Would you rate this out of 5 stars?
3. I think it's quite enjoyable, but not extraordinary.
I like the vanilla.
Not unlike the human experience.
Ooh. I'm gonna say, I mean, it's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. I'm also gonna say 3 stars.
Okay. So
Overall
there you have it,
rating.
folks.
Freeze-dried ice cream, 3 stars. Aliens. Aliens. What's your opinion on aliens, Colin?
I think that it is extremely likely that they exist in some form.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about how our universe, well, presumably infinite,
Mm-hmm.
there's 100% other life out there.
Right.
They've already discovered water on Mars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, there's lots of, I think there's like hundreds of other planets they've discovered already that have similar conditions to ours, right? Yeah, I think it's very, very probable.
So I found some information from NASA.
Really?
Actually.
NASA? Okay.
Yeah, so NASA hasn't only just been looking for extraterrestrial life, but they've been looking for life advanced enough to create technology.
Mm.
So they've created these technosignatures, which are signs or signals, which if observed would allow us to interfere the existence of technological life elsewhere in the universe.
Very interesting.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
The NASA's not only just looking for life, but life that has
Advanced life, right?
technology, which
Yeah.
I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And that, I guess, is just as probable as any other kind of life,
Yeah.
right? So what do you think about them being able to understand anything we're doing, though?
I mean, I think it's pretty probable. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know.
Mm-hmm.
So I also found ways that NASA is kind of like exploring the universe, trying to see if there's life out there. So there's this technique known as spectroscopy, which is analyzing light shot by a star through the atmosphere by a distant planet. And the effect of it kind of looks like a barcode. So it's slices missing from the light spectrum that tell us like what's present in the alien atmosphere.
Okay. So it's light reflected from a planet, not
It's-
given from a planet?
No,
Or is
it's
it given
light
from a
shot
star?
by a star
By a
through
star.
the atmosphere of a distant
Okay.
planet.
Right. Okay.
So a pattern of black gaps might
Mhm.
indicate methane or like oxygen, and seeing those together could be a strong argument for the presence of life. Another one is you could read barcodes that shows the burning of hydrocarbons.
Right.
In other words, like smog.
Right.
NASA says even without listening in on their conversations, the aliens' reasonably advanced technology would be known to us by its pollution, which I think is kind of interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
I
they
don't
need
know.
energy.
NASA's pretty cool with this information.
That is cool. And have they found any of these magic barcodes yet?
Not sure.
Not sure.
I genuinely don't
They're
know.
looking though. Or maybe they're keeping
I don't
it from
think-
us.
I mean, government conspiracies.
We could get into that.
Um,
That's the rabbit hole.
but I mean, NASA hasn't found really any sign of,
So they say.
of life.
Of life.
But I mean, they're gonna keep searching,
Yeah.
and they've already started like missions to search for stuff
Mm-hmm.
in space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it? Of course, let's look at the other side for a second. If we were completely alone, it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, I guess I don't even like to think about
Or is
that.
Yeah. Or is that more comforting to you? To some people it'd be comforting because, I don't know, aliens can be scary.
I mean, for me, just thinking about like the apocalypse and like how like our world could end, like once we're gone, if there's nothing else in the universe, like, what's gonna happen? Like there's just nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, also, once you're dead, does it really matter anymore, though?
Okay.
It's getting pretty dark. So here's a question.
Mhm.
Do you think we'll find out about other life within our lifetime?
I
It-
mean, you never know though. Like, it's
Yeah.
always a possibility. Like, maybe even tomorrow, NASA could have a giant breakthrough. Like, oh, there's aliens. Oh.
It's one in the White House. But it is encouraging to me that we're looking for them. I'm glad we're open-minded like that as a species in that way anyway.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like maybe sometime in the future, if we did find like other life or other technological life, maybe we could join them.
Do you think so?
I mean,
Or do you think there would be inherent conflict?
I feel like that's only something we can figure out once it happens.
Do you think we'll even be able to understand each other though? Like would other beings, will they be on the same plane of existence? Right? Could they be in like different dimensions possibly? Or is it more likely, well I mean, the universe we know is primarily carbon based, right? So all life on Earth is carbon based. Do you think it'll be similar elsewhere? Or do you think it'll be like maybe non-physical beings as we think of them?
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I mean, there's
you
not
can't
there's
say.
not there's not
You
an
can't
answer. Like I genuinely can't say, but I think either way would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So aliens, they probably exist. Maybe someday we'll get to figure that out for sure in the future. Maybe we won't.
If they do exist, though, what does that do to our significance? Let's say some aliens show up tomorrow that are from some other solar system they travel all the way over here. What does that do to our significance, knowing for certain that there's other beings out there? Does that make you feel smaller in the universe, or is it comforting knowing that we as a species are not alone in our struggle for significance? Maybe we could talk to them about significance.
Well, that's up for you folks to decide. Check your neighbor.
Tea time! So now we have come to the part of our show where we are going to be trying tea. And you may be wondering, why are we trying tea? Well, would you like to tell me?
Tea is in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, while understanding our part in the universe, it is impossible not to mention tea. So we're going to be trying a few kinds of tea, and we'll let you know what we think. This first one, what is this?
This one's called chocolate chai tea.
Chocolate chai tea.
I'm a little underwhelmed.
You know what? I had that initial reaction as well. But
I
I
had
think after you let it sit for a bit is when it really shines.
I had higher expectations. It's a.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could have steeped a little longer. Maybe that would have
Okay, that could
helped
be.
it. It just doesn't taste like chocolate.
I do understand that. But that little piece of chocolate that we do get at the very end, I think is absolutely delicious. Why don't we rate this tea? What would you rate it?
Out of what?
Out of 50.
The high number. I'm gonna say 13.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that bad?
I didn't like it.
Huh. I'm gonna say 30.
Fair enough.
But 30 with human error, because I think we should have steeped it longer.
Okay. Well. When it comes to understanding our universe, a big part of it has to do with people's religion and their beliefs.
Yeah, so, your belief system really affects the way that you see the universe and the way you see yourself in the universe in a few different ways. First of all, many different religions have different interpretations of how the universe actually came to be. You want to reflect on that?
Yeah, so Christianity, for example, I'm Christian. So in the Bible, God created the universe in just a few days. But then there's the science side of things,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Two very different.
Different, but
things.
are they different? In my opinion, they can coexist quite easily. Okay, so if you believe that God did create the universe,
Mm-hmm.
could you not say that the theory of the Big Bang is just how that happened?
That's an idea, and I see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But my beliefs, I don't take the Bible like completely literally, but one thing that I sort of believe is that back in the Bible days, time was measured differently. So God could have created the universe maybe like a day, or like maybe over like the course of millions of years. I don't know, but I feel like time was measured back then differently. So that's when like dinosaurs came into play and the whole creation of the universe.
Okay, yeah. And if you're going at it from that angle, then time is a construct, right? So
Yeah.
during the creation of the universe, whatever that was, if you do believe that God created the universe in 6 days, that can't be taken too literally as who was there to count the days.
Yeah.
But it's an interpretation on the part of humans as to what could have happened.
And there's no real proof to whether God created the universe or whether the Big Bang happened. Science is just theories.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Christianity and religion, it's all based on faith. So I guess you can believe whatever you want. There's no concrete evidence of either one. So in terms of religion and science affecting our significance, I think it's good to have something to believe in and to sort of give you purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a religion, but just having something that gives you purpose in life. So like Christianity, like you want to live your life for God. You have that goal of heaven at the end of your life. Kind of gives you something to live for.
Yeah, it's a sense of purpose.
And if you don't believe in any sort of religion, you can still find purpose in your life. I mean, I feel like everybody has some sort of goal in their life that they want to fulfill. Whether it be something religious or something completely unrelated to that. Like when it comes to science, scientists mostly devote their life to discovering new things, which gives them purpose. I also feel like you can find purpose in your everyday life.
So, religion and science, although historically there's been conflict between the two, they're both really just ways of trying to explain the universe, and perhaps that is where they're very similar. So both of them kind of give you purpose because you're trying to understand the universe through them, right? Like, so a religious person could try to understand the universe through devotion to whatever they believe in, and advancing spiritually to a level, to a higher level that they want to get to. But someone who doesn't particularly devote themselves to a certain religion, but is more scientific minded, could try to explain the universe, through conducting experiments and looking for answers there. And so, all of us, I feel, are kind of going through that throughout our lives, just trying to understand everything better, right? And you can do that through religion or through science. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
My religion is heroin. It's tea time.
So Colin, what's the next tea we have here for us?
I believe it is blueberry.
That's false.
Okay.
It's raspberry
It's
zinger.
raspberry zinger. Now, I have to say, I think I'm gonna enjoy this one.
I think so too, honestly.
Now,
It seems very inviting.
Mhm.
It smells good. The color
raspberries.
is.
It does smell good.
I feel like I'm a vampire. It's like bright red.
I can't see it. Everything just looks purple through this glass.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Twilight.
Bright red.
It's a little bitter, but like the
It's a bit better.
the natural taste is there. I'm gonna rate this an overall. I'm pretty picky when I'm gonna say 33.
I'm gonna give it a 24.
All right.
Maddie, I have a question for you.
Go for it, Colin. What's your question?
What do you think about the universe being a simulation?
Oh, the universe is 100% a simulation.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
So, let's talk a bit about this.
Okay.
So the idea that the universe is a simulation,
Yes.
big idea, right?
Big idea.
A lot of prominent scientists though and physicists have supported this idea. I know Stephen Hawking
Oh
did.
yeah.
A lot of people have cited it as extremely likely, if not almost a guarantee, which I guess is extremely likely. So yeah, extremely likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, somewhere along the line, humans or non-humans create some technology advances enough for some kind of being to create this simulation of a universe, and so it would basically be like ones and zeros, right? But it's advanced enough for us to have the illusion of emotion and free will. So here's my question. Since you are certain that it is happening now, what does that mean for our significance? Well, think about it this way. To me, it doesn't really matter in terms of our significance if we're in a simulation or not, because in both scenarios, we're in this infinite or near infinite universe that we're never going to really understand, right? So what does it matter if we're not understanding what is considered to be a genuine thing or what is a bunch of ones and zeros?
I mean, I don't think it really does matter.
Right?
Yeah.
And that also brings up the point of what is real, right? So we have our laws of physics, which is all those theories anyway. So laws of physics now, and you know, we have our physical world which we perceive as real, but what's the difference between that and a computer simulation? And you could argue that if it is a computer simulation, then whatever is real, this is kind of confusing. That's making that simulation has a different level of understanding. That's maybe where different dimensions come into play.
Yeah. Oof.
Right?
Oof. Ooh, Colin.
And if we were programmed to feel emotion, what is real emotion? Is there a whole other layer there? Anyway, basically though, the takeaway from that is that in terms of our significance, we believe it's irrelevant. But we are definitely living in a simulation.
Yes. Tea time!
Okay. This time on Tea Time we have, what is this? Salted caramel tea.
So I don't really like caramel.
Caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel. Okay.
So, we'll see how this one goes. It smells good.
It smells good. Taste it?
I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fogged up my glasses. I'm not really getting a whole lot of caramel. It's very calming flavor though.
I don't like it.
Really?
I don't
It
like
makes me
it.
feel like I'm very relaxed.
I don't like it. Out of 50, I guess like a 5.
Really?
Yeah. No,
It's
not
that
even
bad?
that. I give it a 2. Colin, that's
See,
gross.
it's not about the taste though, it's about the emotion. Okay, it's not the sweetest flavor, but it relaxes me. I give it a 32 out of 50. Room for improvement, but the feeling is there.
Fair enough. Hey bro,
Hey bro,
we're small.
you're small.
Let's talk about that. So if you think about it, people are incredibly small. We're like grains of sand compared to like the ocean.
But even more, right? It's incomprehensible how big many of the bodies in space are. When I say bodies, I mean like planets and stuff. But yeah, like as we've never seen something that large, we can't comprehend really the difference between us and something as large as some of the things that have been discovered and the things that haven't been discovered, the infinite things that haven't been discovered that are possibly infinitely larger than us.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if 1.3 million Earths can fit into the sun. You hear that fact, but you just can't quite picture it.
And I mean, that's just the beginning, right? Because the sun is its own grain of sand. It's not that time. That means it's time for space fact. Today's space fact. The largest diamond in our galaxy, recently discovered by astronomers. It is, guess how massive it is?
How massive is it, Colin?
It is 10 billion trillion carats. Massive. Much larger than planet Earth. They named it, well, guess what they named it?
What did they name it?
Think of the Beatles. They named it Lucy, after the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's about 25,000 miles across, which is much larger than Earth. Very interesting space fact.
Goes along with what we were talking about.
Exactly.
Hey, Colin.
Yes.
Tea time!
Okay. We have a double tea time this time.
Oh!
That is crazy.
So, we're getting festive on ya.
Mm-hmm.
This one's called White Christmas Tea.
Mm-hmm. It's also called Cup of Joy.
Aww.
It smells
It's hot.
like a Christmas. Really? It's gonna burn.
It does smell like a Christmas tree.
It smells like a Christmas tree. And I really like that smell. So I have high hopes for this. Have you tasted it yet?
Mm-hmm. It tastes the way a pine needle smells.
It's not good. Well, I mean, it smells good, but I don't think it.
That's my description.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't like it.
No,
It's just like Christmas
tastes.
vomited in tea. Like gingerbread pine needle, like it doesn't work.
I think it works absolutely perfectly.
Okay.
It reminds me of a tree.
You're literally drinking a Christmas tree. Liquid.
Here's what it reminds me of, though.
Liquid Christmas tree.
When I was younger, we would find Christmas trees at this orchard that is now closed. But there's this French guy there. I think his name was Louis. And once we bought our Christmas tree, we sit by the fire and have apple cider. But like.
This doesn't taste like apple cider.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
But there would usually be like pine needles in it.
So what do you rate
And
this?
it reminds me.
So what do you rate this out of 50, Colin?
You know what? I really like it. It's also quite relaxing. It's kind of similar to the, what was it, the salty caramel? Or no, it's the chocolate. That was quite relaxing.
I give it 18.25.
You Grinch. I give this 40.
Dang. Alright, moving on to our next
After the next
tea.
one, we need.
Taking a trip across the world because this is Moroccan mint. And it's green tea.
That's my mint. You know what? Right off the bat,
It
smells
smells
like
like
fluoride.
I was gonna say it smells like toothpaste. Like,
It smells like, yeah.
I
It
get-
smells
I
like
get
a dentist office.
It smells like Crest. Like I know, like not Colgate, like Crest.
Specifically Crest?
Specifically Crest.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of dentist office, so I'll wait for the taste though.
Well, it tastes like peppermint tea, which I like, but the smell of it just throws me off, and I feel like I'm drinking Crest.
I can't tell if I like this or not.
I don't think I do.
Okay,
I give it a 8.9.
really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 22.
All right.
Good, not great.
That concludes our final
Below
tea
half.
session. So how does all this relate back to our significance?
Well, that's a good question, Maddie. Let's think about this for a second. We've established that we are unimaginably small. So that means we can't possibly be significant in the universe. Is that right?
I'd say so.
Mm-hmm. But we can still be significant.
I agree. As Gandhi once said, everything you do will be insignificant, but it's very important that you do it.
Mm-hmm. And in that case, I'm gonna guess that Gandhi was probably talking about like earthly events, right? But that idea can be very well applied when thinking about the universe, and it kind of ties into the idea of significance, like many things, being relative. If you complimented my sunglasses, I would say thank you, Maddie.
Those are nice sunglasses,
Thank
Colin.
you, Maddie. And I'd be really happy about it. But it's so insignificant to everyone else. But it made me really happy, right?
Yeah.
So that could be a really significant event in my day. It would be an insignificant event maybe even in my week.
Maybe even in your whole year, Colin.
My whole year, right? Even more insignificant to everyone else's year because they don't even know about it. And kind of like the scale between size differences in our universe, that significance, the difference in that significance is also amplified. So we can be really insignificant in the universe, but we can still do meaningful things to us. meaningful things for ourselves in our own lives. And if we're talking about existence, what is our existence other than our reality, which is a sum of our experiences?
I think when it comes to existence and significance, talking on a universe level, it's like really, really difficult to comprehend as we are so small. But on our level here on Earth, I feel like our existence has to do with the way we want to live.
Okay.
And how we live our life and how everything relates back to you. And how you view the world and yourself. And how you feel you are significant in the world. I guess how like your place within the universe.
Right, because your experience is how you view things, right? And so you can view yourself as this really insignificant speck. Maybe I can say I'm not going to do my physics homework because it's not going to affect Pluto. But why do you care about how it affects Pluto, right? Affects Pluto. Because it affects you. And it's cool to think about sometimes how small we are, and it's good to think about that sometimes. I find you don't want to get too caught up in the little things, right? So if you think about
just think about the
I
big
am
picture.
absolutely nothing, but in a good way. So you can kind of take a step back, but you can't get too caught up in that either. It's all about balance, like everything else. Yeah.
There will never be an answer to why we exist. What are we living for? So I think it all just depends on what you believe and like what you think.
Yeah, and that is what we've been talking about, right? There is no answer. We can't tell you how to feel about the universe, or if there's other life out there, or if there's God or gods or alternate dimensions. What we can do and what we have done is share a few pieces of that story, and hopefully brought you some entertainment, because it's important to be entertained, because it brings you happiness. And that is part of human experience, and a part of human experience that we tend to value.
So overall, we hope that by us exploring our significance within the universe, you've developed more of an understanding of your place within your world and, more importantly, the entire universe.
And hopefully we brought you some reflection and some good times.
So now it's come to that point of the night where we rate the teas.
Okay. Yes, so over the course of this webisode, we've ranked a total of 5 teas. We will now be reading out the results. Trigger warning, if you're really invested in tea, we might not pick your tea, so be ready for that. Okay, what is number 5, Maddie?
In 5th place, we have Moroccan Mint with a score of 30.9.
We didn't really like that one very much.
Crusty.
Yeah, crusty.
In 4th place, we have Salted Caramel with a total score of 34 points.
I really like that one. You gave it a 2. Okay, top 3 now. So big congrats to these teas.
All right. In 3rd place, we have Chocolate Chai with a score of 43 points.
Yeah, that's an overall pretty good one. I think I liked it more than you, but
I feel like if we let it steep longer, it would have been better, but it's alright. Alright, in 2nd place, we have Raspberry Zinger. Personal favorite for me with 57 points.
Yeah, that was a good one. Which
leaves first place White Christmas. 58.25
I really like that
points.
one. That one was an emotional one for me, and I really felt it, and I'm happy with the results.
All right, well, Liquid Christmas wins. Thank you
Thank
for
you
joining us
for
on
joining us
Tea Time.
on Tea Time. Live long and prosper.